we're back.
Good.
We're back. And it's time for another Filthy Forester. And, well, not another Filthy Forester. Time for another Filthy Forester episode.
Yeah.
One Filthy Forester is enough.
Plenty enough.
So, we just pulled the bag off the engine block, and it's got a lot of weird stuff on it.
Like barnacles.
I'm going to blow it off with compressed air, and hopefully all that just kind of works itself up. We'll just try to clean it up as best we can. Hopefully get the heads on, and maybe get the timing stuff on, and maybe the water pump. Maybe.
Really, these sweet blue heads are the priority.
Hopefully get the heads on.
Yep.
So stick around, watch us struggle, and probably laugh at us like all the others.
Chill, please.
Yeah.
Ah!
All right. Sorry, I had to turn the camera on for that. But all the barnacles, or whatever they might be. Did we store this underwater, you might ask? No.
I think probably just like stuff in the air gets in the bag and then condensates, and then all the particles precipitate out and then kind of just lay on top here. It's weird. It's like powdery. It's like salt water. It looks like the inside of a fish tank.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Hopefully the compressed air will just blow this right off.
Right on.
Hopefully. I'm just going to kind of somewhat cover that. Alright, well, we cleaned it up a little bit. All that stuff just kind of came right off. It was like powder. I don't know, it was kind of weird. We don't really know what that was, but hopefully it was no biggie. So, yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we're going to spin this up and then clean the mating surface on the head side, or on the block side, since we...
Wow, look at that catch. I don't know if they can see that or not. That was sweet.
Nice. And then we'll get ready to install the head gaskets.
Yeah! Down.
Got it.
Okay, so we cleaned that side up.
Man,
And,
we are close, huh?
Hey, hey, I'm not good looking enough for that. Too much of a close up. So we cleaned this side up. Everything looks good. I mean, we got the pistons looking good. The cylinder walls look fantastic. We showed you that last time. You can still see cross hatching. We just made, I don't know if our camera will show that, but
It did once.
anyway.
Yeah.
One thing interesting we did notice, it looks like this engine's been out of time before. You can see what appeared to us to be valve markings on both of these cylinders 1 and 3.
Yeah.
So
That's what we think anyway.
that's what it looks like to me. It is an interference engine, so that is very possible. Also, we noticed this may have been the root of the head gasket failure. Look at all the stuff we pulled out of the coolant jackets. What is that?
It's like snotty.
It feels like a really wet old newspaper. So we pulled that out of, I called them coolant jackets, I guess, I don't know, in here. Pretty sure that's where the coolant goes around the cylinders to, keep it cool and whatnot. That is probably not doing its job. And we're definitely gonna have to blow out the heater core, that's for sure. We already drained the radiator. Obviously we're cleaning out the block as best we can. And we'll just do everything we can to make sure this thing goes back together correctly. And hopefully we have fixed all of the symptoms, and we'll hopefully also fix the problem so we're nice and fresh when she goes back together. That's the plan.
We're gonna clean the head off before we put it back on the block there.
Do this one too. Alright. WD-40 and elbow grease here. That was our method on the pistons and it worked pretty good, so. I think we showed you the other side while I was doing you probably watched a time lapse of me cleaning the combustion chambers. Andrew did this side. So the pistons came out looking pretty good. Looks like the exhaust valves were hitting these pistons as well. So I don't know if something apparently was out of time a little bit. Remember when we first fired it up, we were like, sounds like a sewing machine. I bet that's what we were hearing.
Oh, would you look at that? And she sounds like a sewing machine.
I bet that's what we were hearing. So this thing has a couple issues.
Hopefully we're working them out though.
Yeah, hopefully we've solved them all. The valves, none of the valves seemed bent at all. You guys watched us lap the valves, and I mean everything pressed in and out of the valve guides easily. So no, I'm not worried about that. We cleaned them up as best we could. We reseated the valves. You guys saw that. I cleaned up the combustion chambers. They look pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect. So then we consulted the Google and found Brian's Mobile 1 on YouTube. So shout out to him. Check him out. And then, yes, this is a Frisbee. But here are the steps we're going to follow for a very convoluted torquing sequence for these heads. We're going to do our best to follow that. So time to bust out the head gaskets and see what we can do. The Felpro gasket is nice enough to tell you which side is up. So up goes up, I presume.
Pick up on it a little bit, go towards you. There it went.
Right there.
Yes, sir. Slam her down.
Why'd we put the valve covers on?
Because we're dummies. Wow, we're dummies. That's hilarious. Oh, well, that's easy.
We were just so excited. So excited to have them buttoned up. Actually, the primary reason was because they sit for a week at a time, and we just didn't want to have them completely encased in crud and plastic all the time. We still put them in a bag, but it makes me sleep easier knowing that they're put together. I've read that you're supposed to like lube these up a little bit so you get accurate torque readings. So I'm gonna do that. Wow, this is really cold.
I've got engine oil over there.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's use engine oil. This is like goop.
What's it like?
Goop.
This is a synthetic blend.
Ooh. Oh, it's in Project Rusty.
Oh, yeah.
22 foot-pounds for all of them. Up to 51 foot-pounds.
51.
Loosen 180 degrees. And another 180. These are about finger tight now. 180. $180. 25 foot-pounds. Just 1 and 2. 11 foot-pounds. Okay, 90 degrees for all of them. 90.
Just don't go all the way to the side.
Right there. 90.
That seems unhappy.
90. 90. 90. 90 again. Okay, torqued. Torqued. 90. There. There. Right there. Okay. Okay, that one's torqued. We guess that's on there now. We tried to follow the instructions. He seemed to know what he was talking about, so shout out to him. Thanks for the info. We followed it to the best of our ability. Hopefully that works out. Pop the valve cover back on. We're not sure if we mentioned this before, and again, this is not a tutorial, but we do like to try to share knowledge if we have it. Just want to make sure that if anyone does try this at home, make sure that your timing marks, you can see, whoop, can you see? Okay, there's a mark there, and then there, and then I'm not positive, but is that the mark right there? Seems to be. With this lined up, the pistons are in the middle of their stroke, and I'm pretty sure that's what you're shooting for. So that way when you put the heads on, you can spin the cams wherever you need them without worrying about valve interference. So just before you go popping heads on, like we just put that other one on, and we realized I don't think we showed that. So again, the important part, before you put your heads on, just make sure the crank is in the right spot. So there you can see the timing marks. So if your crank is in the right spot, the pistons are halfway up their stroke, and then you can do whatever you need to with the cams, running no risk of interference.
Smashing valves.
To get them lined up to put this thing back in time before you put your timing belt on. So yeah, thought we should mention that. All right, guys, heads are on and torqued. We should, we're gonna throw some spark plugs in it just so you know everything's buttoned up. And then I'm gonna line up the timing marks just so I hopefully don't forget to do it next time when we come back in a future installment to put on timing goodies. I don't know if we're gonna get to that tonight. It's late and it's cold and various other excuses. It's going in nicely. Okay, well this threaded in, so that's nice. Ta-da! We did it. All right. This is take 2. Okay. We're gonna call it a night because it's cold and it's late. I might come out tomorrow. I'm hungry. Andrew's hungry and he's busy tomorrow, so I'll be probably by my lonesome unless I convince Kayla to come out. So this might be the end of this video. Otherwise, you might see me tomorrow, and I'll probably cut this out regardless if that's the case. So. Thank you guys for watching, for making it this far, if you've made it this far. Stay tuned, hang in there. We're trying to get better. So yeah. Let us know what you want to see. Catch you in the next one. All right, what's up guys? It's the next morning and it is freezing down here. So I'm gonna see how long I can bear it, hopefully get a little bit done, and I guess just stay tuned. Well, I got this lovely timing set from Gates. Comes with a timing belt, all the idlers, and the cogged idler, or whatever they call that, and water pump. So I guess that's where we'll start, the water pump. All right, well, Gates sends a pretty sweet kit, and it comes with instructions, and they inform you that there's a possibility the air gets into this tensioner, this hydraulic piston. This is the belt tensioner. So they instruct you to put it up in a vise, pull the pin, let it go through its stroke, and compress it a few different times. Make sure you work all the air out. So that's what I'm gonna do now before I start installing stuff. All right, so I'm gonna try to pull this pin, but I might need some pliers. Oh, here's the pliers. Might have been easier if I would have put this in there the other way. Okay, well there goes that. Now they say to compress it, I should probably put it this way, I guess. And to do so slowly. All right, well, hopefully you guys just saw us bleed the tensioner. I've never seen that, but Gates recommends bleeding it before you install it, so that's what we did. And it would start out really easy and then turn into a headache, so I'll probably cut a lot of that out. I just couldn't get the C-clamp to stay straight when I was pressing it down for, of course, the last time. It looked like everything was going great up until the last one, but we got it. So now I'm gonna take off the old tensioner and probably this cogged water pulley idler thing. So, okay.
Did you pull a tag off your hat?
That's not my hat, it's Andrew's. So now, looks like I can get to the water pump. Looks like it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts maybe? Hopefully this isn't ridiculously difficult to get off. Oh. Anywhere? That came off nicely. There we go. All right. Does this just pop off of there now? Look at that. Cool, water pump and thermostat housing and whatnot. All right, hopefully you can see, I got the mating surface cleaned up. Is that in shot? So that looks nice and good. Cleaned off with carb cleaner and blew it all out with compressed air and put the compressed air nozzle up in there and blew some more coolant out everywhere. And I got all the hoses and various things off of the water pump. Thermostat, looks like there's weird gunk in it like everything else. But I'm gonna take all those hoses and whatnot up to the house and clean them out in the dump sink before I put it all back together. Just wanted to show you guys the condition of everything. Looks like fun, right? Okay, popped the thermostat out and there's more of that weird, like gunky old newspaper looking stuff. So I'd say this is definitely our overheating issue. We just need to clean the entire cooling system out as best we can. Obviously we've cleaned the block pretty well. We drained the radiator. I'm gonna blow water through the radiator, and then I think the heater core is probably gonna be the biggest culprit, but I'm definitely gonna blow as much water and stuff as I can through the heater core before we put this all back together and hopefully remedy all this. Let's hope so. All right, well, I've got a new water pump, cleaned up thermostat housing, new thermostat, new gasket. Dang it. New gasket. I'm gonna line that back up. Cut. Take 2. Take 3. Make sure that. All right. Water pump and thermostat. Check. Let me check these. I don't think I checked these. Yeah, I'd say that's good. All right. Cool. So now, let's go ahead and move on to the idlers, I guess. Yeah. Okay. New calm down. There was no washer on this, on this bolt. This does not look like a factory bolt, actually. This looks like not a Subaru bolt. I'm gonna put a washer on that if we have one that fits. That just would make me feel better. I don't like the looks of that. That just doesn't look good. I'm gonna go see if we have a washer. Found a washer. It fits down in there nicely. So, on she goes. Okay. Or not. So this just non-factory bolt just doesn't fit in there. So I was struggling to get this bolt in here, as you guys were seeing, and it does not appear to be a Subaru specific bolt. It's probably one of those things where like they just ran into something and this is what they had laying around. But it doesn't want to fit into ours. You can see here, this is a 1.5 thread pitch. You guys can see that, I hope. And you're probably never gonna be able to see this, but this isn't the best way to do it. But I really don't want to uninstall the water pump because it was kind of a pain, and take it to a hardware store to match it up. So I'm trying to jam my little thread indicator thingy into the hole. And it's definitely not 1.5. I'm thinking it's 1.25. And that kind of makes sense to me because I've already bought bolts for this thing, and so far the ones that I bought have been 1.25. But I'm just taking this and doing my best to push it up in here and try to determine what threads are. And I think it's 1.25. So I'm gonna go down to the hardware store. I'm gonna take this bolt, I'm gonna match it, but with 1.25 thread pitch. And I'll be back and see if that thread's in there. So,
Hopefully it works.
wish me luck. And we're back from the hardware store. Pulled an M10 by 1.5 out of it. Bought an M10 by 1.25. Hopefully this just threads right in there. And it does. Look at that. Perfect. In she goes. Okay. According to Gates, the tensioner gets thread locker. That was a very misleading package. That is the tiniest little thing of Loctite I've ever seen. Apparently that is the only bolt that gets it. There we go. Loctite. They also give a picture in here about how it's supposed to look. Proper piston alignment, improper piston alignment. Does that look like proper piston alignment?
Mm-hmm.
That it does, doesn't it? Oh, it's perfect. Timing belt, automatic tensioner bolt, 29 foot-pounds, according to the Gates installation instructions. There we go. 29 foot-pounds, according to the Gates thing. There you go. So, let's do this one next. I think this one's last. I think I saw that you put this one on last once you route the timing belt. I think I saw that on some other YouTube thing. Oh, that was easy. Also, these are the torque specs I've been talking about. It just says it in the little documentation they provided, Gates provided for us. Ta-da. There we go. I'm pretty sure everyone says to put the, route the belt and then do that one last. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. Okay, this should still be lined up with our timing mark, and it is. I think we've already showed you that, but we can show you again just in case. This one gets lined up with this, where the cam cap is. And this one, I'll probably need Kayla's help to hold that one. These will be experiencing some valve spring pressure. So as long as this crankshaft timing mark is matched up, you should be good to go. Your pistons are halfway up the stroke, like halfway in their stroke on each bank, so you should be fine to move the cams wherever you want with no risk of anything bad happening. So I'm just going to turn this cam until timing mark, and that mark is in the timing cover. I don't know if I'll be able to do this without anyone holding it or not. We'll find out. And then you grab your new timing belt. You kind of expect a brand new timing belt to not be showing. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. That's kind of disappointing. What the heck? Everything else has been great out of this kit. Well, whatever. It does tell you which way it goes. So here you go. This is the part number. I was told this was a good part. I mean, I bought the whole Gates kit. I don't know. We'll find out. This tells you which direction it goes. That one goes on the crank pulley, and then there are two more marks that should line up with your timing marks on your cam pulleys. So let's see if that works. Okay. And this goes up and hopefully lines up perfect. Boom. Now I'm gonna grab a little clamp, wood clamp things. So I'm trying to hold the belt there.
Should this dotted line be?
Yeah, that should be on your.
Okay.
And the teeth are pretty coarse, so it's like, even if you're like a smidgen off, and you're like, well, if I move it a tooth, then you'll be way off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, okay, well this seems right then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm off a tooth there. So this lines up perfect, so we need to move that back a tooth. Oh, yep, that's what I'm talking about. See how the valves just, I don't know if you might be blocking this shot, I don't know. But you can tell that the valves are under spring pressure, or like the valve springs are under pressure, so like it kind of snaps back to the valve's closed part. If you're not careful.
Don't pull it down.
Put a little clamp on. Well, I'll probably leave it so we can see the timing mark. There you go. You gotta get around the water pump somehow, so I guess like that. And then here. Oh, baby. Come on, baby. Ah. Oh. My goodness. We're on though, right? Everything looks happy. All right. So we finally got that timing belt slid on. Just wanted to show you the timing marks. That is just dead on. As is the crank pulley. Here, let me grab my trusty pointer and try to explain this as best I can. So you can see a timing mark here, lines up with the belt mark, lines up with this timing mark, and lines up with this timing mark. And then this side also looks perfect. Timing mark, line on the belt, timing mark on the timing cover. All right, so on to the next seemingly impossible part. We get this nice brand new, whatever, pulley, idler pulley I think it is called. And that's gotta go right there. And I think that it's gonna be difficult because there's kind of a lot of tension in the belt without even the tensioner being pulled. But anyway, we've got the bolt, drop it in, and let's just see if I can make it happen, or we can make it happen. I might need Kayla's help again. Please and thanks, Kayla. Ooh, maybe if I hold it up, Kayla, you could start it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, have a mate help you.
No.
That wasn't terrible. I thought that might be worse. Sweet. Okay, harmonic balancer key is straight down, as it should be from my understanding. 22 millimeter bolt. And let's turn this thing over and make sure she lines back up. Oh, I passed the timing mark.
Yeah.
We're gonna go 2 times. It should line back up for us. Boom. How the timing marks look. Perfect. 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 We turned her over twice, and you can see timing mark perfectly in line. Well, I mean, it's about as perfect as I can eyeball it with the cam plate. And then here, this one's a little trickier to see, but I'll try to point at it. Timing mark's right there. Can you guys see that? Mm-hmm. And that is in line with this timing mark right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then this timing mark right here is right in line with the timing mark on the timing cover. All right, so I'm gonna zip this harmonic balancer back off because it doesn't need to be on right now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull the pin on the tensioner. I'd say we're good. So grab some Kleins or pliers or something. Here we go. Go ahead and pull this pin. Ta-da. Sweet. She's in time. Heck yeah. Cheesy thumbs up. Oh yeah, she's a beaut, Clark. Time to put on the hoses and randomness that I took off earlier. So, which way does this go? Flow this way. Like this, like this, like this, We need to consult the video earlier. Cut. After instant replay, looks like it went on like this. Oh yeah, that's the ticket. Just snug enough to not come off there, hopefully. Just gonna snug that up. Crawling around on my knees all day, and then the last, like, what is hopefully the home stretch of this project, I finally go grab the stool. Again, I'm a sucker for pain, guys. That was easy. And then this guy, put some clamps on him. Clamps! Anybody? Futurama? Anybody like Futurama? One of my favorite shows. It's so clever. Great show, in my opinion. To each their own. I know a lot of people don't like it. It can be, I imagine if you were thin-skinned, that would be an offensive show. But hey, as you guys may have noticed, if you can't laugh at yourself, you know, you'll be miserable. At least that's how words I live by, as I continually do things the wrong way. And I'm constantly forced to laugh at myself. Otherwise, people do it for me, and that's less fun. That just goes like that, right? Just like that. Okay. That's pretty well tightened up. I am quite happy about that. Cheesy thumbs up. Does it look good in the camera? Because it looks great. Like, it looks so much better. I'm pretty pumped. So, yay. Well, we had an awesome day. Awesome weekend. Last night was really productive. Andrew and I, we got the heads on. And today, thanks to Kayla, she's out here freezing her ass off with me all day. But we got the full new timing components, full new timing kit, and water pump on. We also got all the various hoses and coolant passage stuff cleaned out as best we could, and all put back together. So I'm pretty stoked. Awesome, awesome progress. Next, I think we're gonna have to figure out, cobble together my timing cover because they're really expensive from factory and I can't find one at the local junkyards. So I'll figure out something to do with that. I can't bring myself to spend like 40 or 60 bucks on a piece of plastic. It was hard enough for me to buy this, but I figured I would catch backlash if I didn't. But anyway, we'll figure something out. But yeah, everything's good to go. Tightened up in time. We rolled it over a few times. You guys saw that. Everything looks good. So thanks again for watching. And if you've made it this far, fantastic. We appreciate it. We'll hopefully catch you in the next one.